Oh my goodness, whoa. No way. It just put in all the data and exited out for some reason. All right, y'all, how's it going? Today, honestly, I just wanted to learn browser automation and scraping a little bit. Haven't done much of this, and I have a potential project coming up which involves both of these things. So I'm gonna do it from scratch here with Claude Code. By the way, if you hear any music in the background, like singing or piano playing, my neighbor plays music, plays the piano, and sings 8:30 p.m. on a Thursday night, just so you bear that in mind and don't ask questions. So yeah, here I have a Claude Code terminal open right here with a brand new directory. I've never done any browser automation. I've played around with some scraping using, is it called Firecrawl with NNN? Haven't done it with Claude Code. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Claude Code help me learn by giving me demo procedures that I can use to see how browser automation and scraping would work. Ideally, what would happen is I would take data from a site that's meant for learning scraping, and I would have a browser automation take that data and put it into Google Sheets without APIs. We'll see how that works. I'm literally just going to start right now, as usual. I have my Whisper Flow open. I'm going to start talking. Let's build together. Hey Claude, so as usual, we're going to initiate this project with a claude.md file. Please look in the other folders in this parent directory for the claude.md file. Copy it into this one. By the way, I recently got the $100 a month Claude plan because I've been using it so much. And so far I haven't really gotten any close at all to breaking those limits. So hopefully I won't, because $100 is $100. So it's got the Claude.md file. Now I'm just going to explain to it the whole thing that I'm looking for. All right, so I have a potential project coming up which might involve scraping and browser automations. I want to build a demo here. This is going to be for a YouTube video also. The demo is going to involve scraping data from a site. Ideally, it's a site that's meant specifically for learning how to scrape data. And then I want to have a browser automation take that data that's been scraped and put it into Google Sheets without an API. It should be a browser automation. You can suggest to me if you have better ideas. For scraping, I'm pretty sure Firecrawl is probably one of the better tools out there. Again, feel free to suggest whatever you think is best. I'm still a beginner at scraping and browser automations. In fact, I have no experience in browser automations. So I'm wondering if you can just help me out there. And there we go. And you might be able to hear the singing in the background. I certainly can now. Enjoy that. All right, so after about a minute, Claude got back to me and it gave me this recommended approach. It said Firecrawl is probably the solid choice. It's modern, beginner friendly, and returns clean, structured data, perfect for demos, yada, yada, yada. A practice site, books2scrape.com, is purpose-built for scraping education. Nice, so we'll use that. I've heard of this software called Playwright. This is for browser automation. For the Google Sheets automation without an API, Playwright, which is a Python tool, is the best choice. It's modern, fast, and reliable. It has an excellent Python library. It can control a real browser. It's much better than Selenium, which is, I guess, a different browser automation. And it's great with error messages for beginners. So the demo flow is very simple. We're going to scrape from Books to Scrape with Firecrawl. And then we're going to use Playwright to open Google Sheets in a browser and type/paste data in there. So we need a couple things: Firecrawl API key, a Google account, and a Python and Playwright installed. So there we go. Yes, please, let's start this. I may have a Firecrawl key from a while ago. I can make a new one though. Yeah, just take me through things step by step. Let's see what it can build. So one thing I noticed is it made an env example, maybe because I told it it's a demo. I'm just gonna ask it about that before we continue. So you made a .env.example. Is that because I told you this is gonna be a YouTube demo? Even if this is gonna be a demo, I still want it to be accurate enough as if it were a real project. So we should be using an actual .env if that's the case. And also, like usual, feel free to install all dependencies on your own. Man, that piano is very distracting, but we'll make this work. It is 8:35 p.m. on Thursday night. All right, so you still kept the .env example. You can remove that. But they are asking for a Firecrawl API key as well, and they brought instructions out here. Let's just go and do it together. So here's Firecrawl. It's actually a beautiful website. I love software sites like this. They're just nice. They just look nice. It makes me excited to use the tool. So I'm going to sign up here. So I just selected my work email. It's saying all these things that we can do. I'm going to skip this for now. If I need credits, then I'll come back to this. How did you hear about us? I can just say YouTube. I think I heard about Firecrawl through Nate Herc. We're going to scroll to the bottom. We're going to accept this. And I don't want to receive product updates. Code examples. We're just going to let Claude determine all this stuff. Skip. The team name is Baron AI. That's my company. Soon to be officially a business. And I don't have any team members. I'm all alone. Sad. We're going to start with a free plan. That should be more than enough. 500 pages. We're going to scrape from 1 page. Oh my God, she's popping off. All right, so I'm right here. They asked for an API key. Claude did. We're going to go here, and it's already here. It's hidden, which is great, which means I don't have to show it to you guys. I can just copy this. I should have it copied. Go back into Claude. If it's not copyable like that, you might have to show view, but I'm not going to do that here, obviously. So click copy. Go back to Claude. Go to the .env, and we're going to paste it right here. And I'll come back to you once I've done that. Okay, I went ahead and added the API key to the .env. Make sure you don't show that when you're thinking about your next steps, because I'm recording everything on the screen right here for YouTube. Yeah, let me know what the next steps are. Okay, the next step is building the scraper. So we'll write the scraper.py. It will use Firecrawl to hit books.scrape.com, which is that scraping site. It's going to extract info from there and save the results to a JSON file. The JSON becomes the input for the playwright automation in step number 2. Ready to write it? Yes, please. It's just so cool how it does all of this for you. This was way more complicated back when we had to use N8N. Claude can do all this now. It's just wowzers is the word I would use. Wowzers. That being said, I was discussing this with somebody else on an online forum the other day. There is less of an element of fulfillment using Claude Code because there's very little technical setup. You just talk to it, you go into some websites, grab some data, figure out what tools need to be used. With N8N or Make, you actually have to have more thought involvement, more testing. There's more fulfillment there, but it's also smaller output. So we're trading. This is how society is, the direction we're going in now is automating stuff that can be automated so that we have more time to do literally anything we want, which is really cool. Okay, it says the scraper works perfectly and it already has all the data to books.json, but I didn't see anything happen. So for me, this is kind of confusing. I guess it went to the site on its own. If we go to books.json, it actually grabbed all of it, which is cool. But I'm wondering if there's anything that I may have missed. Hey, so it's really cool that the scraper worked, but I didn't see anything in action. I'm just, I'm learning scraping and I'm just wondering how that worked and how this would work in a bigger project. For example, if I had to scrape a government site for real estate property listings for certain data from those listings, how would this work? Because that might be an example in which I might have to do one day for an actual project. So as you can see, sometimes what I do is I try to understand the automation better. You can get lost with Claude Code and these kind of agentic tools because it does a lot of the work for you. I think it's important to understand, at least generally speaking, what the automation is doing so that you can explain it better to clients. You can solve problems when they arise a lot easier. You have an understanding of where problems could have started. And just knowing in general, for the future, you can build automations if you know certain tools, all this stuff. So let's see what it says. It says On a real site, there's going to be thousands of pages, different detail pages, login walls. So what we do in that sort of case is we crawl the index pages, which allows us to grab the individual listing URLs for a real estate government site. Then we'd scrape each individual page and clean it up and store it, which I understand that makes sense. So it just says we'll need to do a firecrawl for bulk crawling and playwright for any form interactions or gated pages. Cool. Sure, let's continue with playwright. And I guess one question I had about browser automation is, does it take over my computer screen? And if I wanted to deploy an actual project in development or in production for a real client, that would mean we'd either need to use a computer of theirs that they don't use or deploy a VM, right? Again, just being curious and asking questions here. So apparently Playwright has a headless mode, which means the browser runs invisibly in the background. So it can happen at the same time, I guess. If we were to deploy for a real client, we'd probably use a VM. We could use a spare machine, specific services that are built for this, like Browserbase or Appify, and Modal, which I've already used. I like Modal a lot so far. So yeah, let's just build the automation. I'm not going to do the whole VM thing today. I'm just learning the browser automation. I kind of understand how to do Modal and that stuff already. Yeah, let's hop right into the automation. Let's see what it does. I think we're getting pretty close to the end here because all that's needed is the automation itself to move data into Google Sheets, which I'm guessing is going to be very, very simple. Okay, so it's asking me to log in. I have no idea why it did this in Google Chrome test, but that's okay. I'll log into my email. You do as you need to do. Whatever it prompts you to do, just do it. All right, so it looks like it made a new spreadsheet automatically in my account, which is fine, whatever. And I'm wondering what it's doing now. It's running the automation. So I'm guessing it'll just happen. Oh, it closed. Interesting. Looks like it made a mistake. It's opening it again. Really cool. But what is it doing? What's this? It closed it again? I'm very confused about what it's doing here. I'm really not sure. Anyways, I'm just going to let it do its thing until it decides it's done. Oh my goodness, it's... Whoa! No way. It just put in all the data and exited out for some reason? Interesting. So I don't need to do a run myself, but I noticed it put in the data into the sheet and then it closed the Google Chrome test browser. Is that saved in my Google Drive? I want to check it out and see it against the JSON file that we have. All right, let's just go check it out. We might be done already with this automation. All right, so it indeed was saved to my Google Drive account, and it does have data in here. Very cool. If we, okay, it's quite large. Should probably just do that. There's 20 items here. If we go to the JSON, well, it's hard to tell for sure, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that looks like 20 to me. A light in the attic cost $51.77, and it's in stock. Very nice. They're all in stock, apparently. As you can see, it looks like the information is correct. Yeah, they're all in stock, so we're not going to see anything different for that. But the data was taken properly. It took all the in stocks, said yes, since it was true. That's pretty cool. And I think there's no real AI involvement besides for Claude Code here. One question I would have is how to structure this data differently, if I want to structure it differently. So I'm not sure how it determined all that. I guess it used the JSON structure here, but let's just ask. Well, that's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that and showing me how that's done. Let's say I wanted the data structured in a certain way. For example, different columns, different values for rows, depending on what was in the JSON file. How would that work? And as it stands right now, does this automation use any AI? How did it determine where to put different items? And in the JSON, it says in stock equals true, but in the sheet, it's when it says in stock, it says yes. How did it determine those things? Interesting. So there's actually no AI, just like what I said. It's purely deterministic, which is really cool. Just to show you can do a lot with not having AI. How we change the structure, we would just, I suppose, change the headers. Where is that? I see. So in the Python automation, we would tell Claude, hey, we want the headers to be this, this, and this. Or we can take a screenshot of the Google Sheet and post it there. And then, so apparently it's all done in the Google Sheets automation. Yeah, very cool. Any questions here? Don't know the fields in advance. If you need some sort of agentic function, then you can have AI in there like Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini. But that's it, guys. I'm not going to go too far into this. I just learned browser automation and scraping, and it was really easy. What more is there to say? Just try things. The moral of the story here is keep trying things with Claude Code. Things you're not sure you can do, just do a demo, figure it out, and then run it. You can learn a lot very quickly. I mean, I've been doing this video for probably 20 to 30 minutes now. I've been recording. Yeah, 20 minutes recording this video and already learned a ton that I didn't know before. I feel way more confident going into a potential project where I'm scraping stuff now. That's basically it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and like and subscribe. We've been getting a lot of attention on this channel recently. Thank you. 54 subs now as of this video, which is amazing. About a week ago, I was at 34. So thank you so much. And if you want to work with me, there's a link in the description. You can go to my site and schedule a call and we can talk and figure something out. So yeah, catch y'all later.